Imagine being accused of a crime you didn't commit. Imagine standing in a courtroom, your fate in the hands of a system designed to protect, yet failing you. For some, this is not imagination. It's reality. Police injustice is not just a mistake. It's a betrayal of trust. Today, we dive into the dark past of police misconduct, wrongful convictions, brutal force, and those who pay the ultimate price for someone else's crime. Our first case takes us to New York City in 2010. A 16-year-old boy named Kalief Browder was walking home from a party in the Bronx when his life changed forever. A police car pulled up beside him. Officers stepped out. Hands up, they ordered. Kalief, confused, complied. You're under arrest. For what? Kalief asked, his voice shaking. Theft, an officer snapped. The accusation? Stealing a backpack. A crime he did not commit. But none of that mattered. Kalief was taken to Rikers Island, one of the most notorious jails in the country. His bail? Set at $3,000, an amount his family could not afford. He spent 3 years in that hellish prison. 2 of those years in solitary confinement. The psychological toll was unbearable. Guards beat him. Inmates tormented him. The system broke him. By the time Kalief was released, the charges were dismissed, but the damage was done. 2 years later, the trauma proved too much. Kalief took his own life. A young man robbed his future, not by criminals, but by the very people meant to protect him. July 10, 2015, Prairie View, Texas. Sandra Bland, a 28-year-old African-American woman, was driving to start a new job at university. She never made it. A state trooper pulled her over for failing to signal a lane change. What's the problem, officer? Sandra asked. Step out of the car. The officer demanded. Why? Step out of the car now. Sandra complied, but the situation escalated. The officer slammed her to the ground. 3 days later, she was found dead in a jail cell. Officials claimed it was suicide, but her family and the public had doubts. Why would a woman excited about a new job take her own life? And why did the officer escalate a minor traffic stop into a violent arrest? In 1944, a 14-year-old black boy named George Stinney Jr. was sentenced to death in South Carolina. His crime? Murdering 2 white girls. His trial lasted only 2 hours. No physical evidence. No defense witnesses. Just a scared boy sitting in court, too small for the chair. His court-appointed lawyer barely fought for him. An all-white jury took just 10 minutes to find him guilty. On June 16, 1944, George was strapped into the electric chair. He was so small, they had to stack books under him. 70 years later, his conviction was overturned. Too late. Justice had already failed him. These cases are not isolated. They represent a dark pattern in the justice system: racial bias, corruption, and a lack of accountability. Some officers abuse their power. Some cases are mishandled. And some lives are lost, forever changed by an unjust system. What happens when those sworn to protect us become the very people we fear? Despite these tragedies, change is possible. Body cameras, independent oversight, and criminal justice reform are steps in the right direction. But true justice requires vigilance. It requires us to never forget the victims of police injustice, because the dark past must never become our future. Injustice is not just a mistake. It's a system built on unchecked power, racial bias, and a web of decisions that determine who walks free and who never gets a chance. For every name we remember, there are countless others lost in the dark corners of history. Names erased, lives stolen, justice never served. But what if I told you there was a pattern? A cycle? Today, we continue uncovering the truth about police injustice, from the silent cover-ups to the voices that refuse to stay quiet. And we ask the question, is there an end game? Or is this system too broken to fix? March 13th, 2020. Louisville, Kentucky. Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old EMT, was sleeping peacefully in her apartment. Her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, was beside her. Then, in the dead of night, a SWAT team stormed in. No warning. No announcement. Kenneth, Thinking they were intruders, grabbed his legally owned firearm and fired a warning shot. What happened next would change their lives forever. 32 shots. Breonna was hit 6 times. As she lay bleeding, no officer attempted to help her. She never got the chance to fight for her life. The officers were never charged with her death. Her life was reduced to a court settlement and a wave of outrage that the system brushed aside. This wasn't just a tragedy. It was standard procedure, a routine no-knock raid based on weak evidence, leaving an innocent woman dead. January 12, 2004, Naples, Florida. 27-year-old Terrence Williams was last seen getting into the back of a police car. He was never seen again. His crime? Driving without a valid license. The officer who picked him up, Deputy Stephen Calkins, claimed he dropped Terrence off at a gas station. No surveillance footage. No witnesses. Terrence vanished. But here's where the story turns darker. 3 months earlier, another man, Felipe Santos, also disappeared after being picked up by the same deputy. 2 men, same officer, same story, same vanishing act. Yet, to this day, Stephen Calkins remains a free man. No arrests, no justice. Just 2 families left with questions that will never be answered. For some, justice is a death sentence. For others, a life sentence comes disguised as democracy. Crystal Mason thought she was doing her civic duty. In 2016, she cast a provisional ballot in the presidential election. She didn't know that, due to a past conviction, she wasn't allowed to vote. A mistake, not a crime. Yet, prosecutors saw it differently. 5 years for a single ballot. Meanwhile, actual election fraud cases committed by people in power receive a slap on the wrist. This isn't about justice. It's about control. For every case that makes headlines, there are thousands that don't. Victims of wrongful convictions, police brutality, and judicial bias. Let's talk numbers. Over 2,500 people have been exonerated since 1989. 1 out of 25 death row inmates is innocent. Black Americans make up 13% of the population, but 40% of the prison system. Some call it a broken system. Others say it's working exactly as intended. So what happens next? Do we just accept this reality? Or is there an end game? Some believe police reform is the answer. Body cameras, stricter policies, better training. But history tells us, policies alone don't fix a system built on control, power, and prejudice. Real change requires accountability. It means independent investigations into police misconduct, eliminating qualified immunity, so officers who commit crimes face real consequences, ending for-profit policing, where minor offenses fuel billion-dollar prison industries, community-led safety initiatives, shifting power away from corrupt institutions. But change doesn't happen overnight. For every step forward, the system fights back harder. The question is, who will win? The system or the people demanding justice? If this story moved you, if these voices need to be heard, then make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Dark Past. Share this video to keep these stories alive. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an untold truth. Justice starts with awareness. Let's spread the message.